Well, it's Monday again. A couple different reasons. One, it's Monday because you probably got that Monday feeling. But two, it's book day. And today I have a recommendation for a book that leans in towards faith, but not a denominational faith from like Catholic, Protestant, Lutheran. It focuses on just a relationship. And the question that I titled this episode with is, who are you becoming? Because the book that I'm recommending today is called Becoming a King, and the author is Morgan Schneider. Now, I've had Morgan Schneider on my podcast, Military Veteran Dad, before. I've read this book. I've dove in the content. I've listened to his podcast, Becoming a Good Soil. And this man has the wisdom that is baked within 20 years of hardships and understanding how to get through them and find their way forward. So many times when we think about faith, God, religion, we almost have all of these old things when we think about it. Not just because religion is old, but I'm talking about how you experienced it growing up. And that was my case. For me, I grew up Catholic and never really felt like I had a relationship with God. It was one of those that I just understood, like, this is how Catholicism works, but it never really gave me a path to actually utilize any of it. Like, it's more of this checking these boxes, it felt like, to get towards the end when I need help right now. And so what I really loved about this book, I read it during the quarantine in 2020. So really in an early time in my life, a transition, figuring things out. And it helped me have a conversation with God and what it really means to have a conversation with God for the first time. Because essentially what Morgan calls you to realize is that you are becoming a king of the kingdom that God entrusts you to build within your family. And oftentimes what we don't realize as a businessman or an entrepreneur or fill in the blank is when we only focus on the providing role, we're not acknowledging this other call, this other place for leadership in our life and in our family. And oftentimes it's that component that gets stuck, it gets messed up, and gets confusing, for lack of a better word, even though none of those words I really felt really described it. And even in the last few weeks, I've been going back to church after the Corona and everything going back to normal here for a while. And I'm now able to hear different things in church that I never heard before. And I think part of that was until you have a relationship with yourself, you can't really have a relationship with others. And that will be continued tomorrow in a conversation that was inspired by this past week's Mass. So Becoming a King, Morgan Schneider, hands down recommend it. There's also a study guide to go along with it to answer some questions. Dive into both. If you want more content from Morgan Schneider, also check out Becoming Good Soil. His entire philosophy, he is also the one that taught me, if you've heard me say this before on other podcasts, the Proverbs 14:4. And to shortcut it, he would say, where there's oxen, there is life, and where there's no oxen, there is no life. And the parable has nothing to do with oxen, but what they leave behind. And essentially what it means is that it takes a lot of shit to make good soil. And so his entire process and his entire ecosystem of leadership and products and philosophy is based on becoming good soil, because the richness of your soil changes what grows from it. And if you want crap to grow from crap, you need to work it into the soil. But man, fertilizer makes things grow better. They make brighter flowers, bigger flowers, stronger oaks, deeper roots. Everything gets better when the soil is richer. Well, the soil gets richer when your life has the fertilizer worked into it. And in many cases, if you looked at people that had a massive pile of fertilizer in their beginning, they propelled that much quicker, because once they were able to work that into soil, the richness almost perpetuated them to go exactly where they were always meant to go, faster before in any other case. There's days where I often think like, man, I wish I had more shit in my life in the beginning, even though it's taken me most of my life still to unpack what did happen to me. I don't necessarily want anymore. But there are times where I feel like I don't have enough fertilizer. And oftentimes it's not that you need enough fertilizer. Sometimes it can come from, even from this case, where I'm helping other people. And that is enriching my soil, because their experience enriches my life. And then I can enrich others' life within my kids, my family, whatever it may be. So again, Becoming a King, Morgan Schneider, hands down, has the Business of Fatherhood recommendation. There is a link down in the show notes to purchase this on Amazon. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow for an important question of, why are you here?